Hello everybody. So for today's episode of Beach Walk Blog, I wanted to talk a little bit about strength training, and I'm going to do this in two sections, in two parts. So today I'm going to do part one, and then tomorrow, if I have time, I'm going to do part two. So for part one, I wanted to really just kind of open up the dialogue into what strength training is, and also how we can best go about strength training, or how we can best go thinking about strength training. So what is strength training? Well, strength training is training the action that we want to get stronger in. Now, I want to start this by saying, is running about strength? Well, when you were 6 years old and you were running around, did you for a single second think that, oh, if I was stronger, I'd be able to run faster? Probably not. And I know, and I've posted and I've seen results of 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, boys and girls running faster than a lot of adults. In fact, most adults. So really, running is not about strength. It's not about how much force you can produce. It's about how much force you can produce in the right place at the right time with the least restrictions to that movement in an aerobic state. Now remember, we're talking about endurance running here, not sprinting. So we're talking about how much force you can produce and impart into the ground in an aerobic state. Now that's a real key part there, because if you're strength training and you're doing the wrong movements, i.e. not the running movement, or not movements that are included in the running movement, because remember, gait is a combination, a gross movement pattern of lots of different movements. So if you're not producing the actions of gait in some way, shape or form, then you're not strength training for running. And you're not producing the lever actions that running needs to produce, right? So remember, running is about efficiency, economy, and levers, producing the right levers. So think about when you go into the gym and you say, right, I want to train my biceps, I want to get bigger biceps. You go and do bicep curls, and that involves elbow flexion, bending your elbow, resisting things that force your elbow to go straight, so eccentric elbow flexion, eccentric elbow extension, should I say, sorry. And it involves actions that involve that movement. So if I want to get stronger biceps, or grow my biceps, I want to make my biceps bigger, I need to do movements that challenge my biceps. That's kind of simple, isn't it? Now, if I want to strengthen my running muscles, I need to know which muscles produce the force in running. And then secondly, I need to do the action of what those muscles do to their respective limbs and joints. And that involves creating lever actions. Okay, so if you're training the wrong muscles, what's going to happen? The wrong muscles are going to get stronger and grow. So if you're training the right muscles, the correct muscles that are involved in the running movement, then you're going to strengthen the correct muscles for the running movement. Kind of obvious, isn't it, really? So why are we all trying to do squats and planks and lunges and deadlifts and shoulder presses and bicep curls and push-ups? Because none of these involve the running movement, right? Now, I've talked about what the running movement is, and I don't need to go into that too much right now for this part one, because I just want to open up the doors to, if you're training the wrong movement, then you're training the wrong muscles, period. Okay, think about that. If you're training the wrong movement, you're training the wrong muscles. Okay, so what movements do you need to train? Well, let's think about the running motion. You're training where the power comes from. So think about the movement of running, right? You need to train the movements that are involved in that. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about in this very short blog today was, why do we see so many runners with hamstring injuries, calf injuries, foot injuries? Why do we see that so much? If everybody's strength training, why do we see so many injuries in those areas? Think about it. If you're training the wrong movement, you're training the wrong muscles. Okay, so you're increasing the capacity of the wrong muscles to produce force. If you're training the wrong movement, you're training and increasing the capacity of the wrong muscles to produce force. Okay, so if you're training the correct movements, i.e. the movement of gait, or the movements that make up the gait cycle, so we've got hip extension, internal rotation at the hip, we've got torso rotation, and we've got plantar flexion at the ankle, we've got pronation, supination at the foot. Why aren't you training these movements? Why aren't you training those movements? Because those are the movements that you need to be more powerful in. Now, the first thing I said was, or maybe not the first thing, but maybe the second thing was, is running about strength? No, it's not. It's not about strength. It's about power. Because there's a speed aspect to how fast you contract those muscles and move those joints. Now think about weight training and weightlifting. How slow is weight training and weightlifting? It's ridiculously slow, right? So the first thing is, like I said, in a squat or a plank or a deadlift or whatever, not only are you doing the wrong movement, but you're moving really slow. So yeah, you might be producing lots of force, but force, lots of force at a slow speed, doesn't equate to much power. It equates to a lot of force at a very slow speed. That's not powerful. You need to create power. You need to produce power. Power requires a speed element. Okay, so like I said, not only are you doing the wrong movement, you're doing the wrong movement slowly. Now, if you're doing the wrong movement and you're training it with lots of resistance, i.e. producing lots of force, what are you doing ultimately? Is you're making the other muscles, the correct muscles, the ones that you're not training, you're making those ones relatively weaker in comparison to the ones that you are training, i.e. the wrong ones. So if you're training the wrong muscles to be stronger and produce more force, and we know that muscles work together, then you're training the other muscles to be weaker relative to those ones that you're training to be stronger. So you've got two muscles. Think of it like a tug of war. One muscle you're training to be really strong, and the other one, you're not doing anything. So what are you doing? You're creating a one-sided dominant tug of war between those two muscles. Is that what you want? No, of course it isn't what you want. Not only are you training the wrong muscles, you're training the wrong movement, you're also not training the correct muscles in the correct movements, and you're creating weakness by creating the wrong strength. Okay? Just think about that. I'm going to leave this beach walk blog. It wasn't much beach walking, but hey, I said it was going to be a short one, and I want to leave that with you right there. You're training the wrong movements. You're training them slowly. And remember, gait and running is about fast, quick, repetitive movements. So you're training the wrong movement, training the wrong muscles. You're training them with high force, slow speed. And you're creating weakness. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Say it one more time. Is that what you want? No, it isn't, is it? Okay, look out for Beach Walk Blog 5 Part 2 coming up tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.